We are Bristol O2. I'm joined with Dynamic Resurrection. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
How's the tour been?
The tour's been fantastic so far. We actually were supposed to play maybe 5 shows in the UK as well as one Scottish festival, Les Fest, and now we're doing a run of dates with Onslaught, and we also played Sonosphere, so it's been a very eventful trip.
Well, we last saw you guys a couple of years ago at Bloodstock. Obviously, I think at the time Dynamic were trying to get a foundation of fans obviously within the UK. Have you noticed the UK growing on the fan sort of side? You guys become sort of like received really well?
Well, yes, we've had a fantastic reception this time, and I do think we're hopefully making a mark in the UK. I think the only way to do it is by just touring like crazy, and I think we've done enough shows this time and covered enough parts of the UK itself to kind of sort of build some kind of a steady fan base here.
And obviously your brand new album as well.
Yes, we're hoping that will kind of make a mark as well.
It certainly takes Brutal to the next level.
Thank you.
Let's talk a bit about the album now. The artwork on the album as well is extremely impressive. Who did you bring on board to do that?
So we had the same guy called Michael Xe to do it, who did the last album, The Return to Darkness. Yeah. But this time, instead of kind of using the standard visuals that we normally would, we decided to add a little bit of the Indian element to it, just to kind of visually give us a little bit of an identity, so to speak, because the story itself was kind of, it's not based on anything Indian, so to speak, but there was the idea was born from doing something Indian. Yeah. There's a 10-headed Indian demon called Ravan, and the original idea of the demon king itself was Ravan, and to tell his story, I wasn't too keen on that, so I sort of wrote my own story, but there are some influences from a friend's book which is based on Ravan and Ram, the Ramayana epic that is there in Hindu mythology.
Excellent. So is there a lot of the mythology, do you take that into your songwriting, or do you try to steer away from sort of that sort of thing?
Well, we have for the longest time, but it's probably just because of the way it's kind of been portrayed to us and the way it's been shown to us in our growing up. Yeah. But I've sort of seen mythology from a different perspective now, because my girlfriend's very well versed in it, and the way she tells me a story is far different from what I saw on the TV with the bad graphics, and so that kind of changes your perception of things. But we haven't really gone deep into it yet. Maybe the next album, lyrically, we might take something from there, and give our own spin to it, of course.
Yeah. So is the mythology of India, is it sort of like told to you when you were very, very young by your parents, or as like over here we have sort of like they call them nursery rhymes, but there's hidden stories behind that type thing, like the hidden demons and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, there are some things like that, but the thing with India is a vast country with many different cultures, and each one has their own stories and their own languages and their own gods. So there's nothing really Indian, so to speak, that can sort of define everything within the country. The south of India has a completely different set of languages and a culture, whereas the north part of India has again a whole different thing. So does the east, the northeast. I'm a Sindhi, which means I was part of what is now Pakistan. Okay. And we don't have anything. So, but we do learn the basic Hindu mythology in some way or the other through school or here and there.
Excellent. So how is the fan base back in India? Have you got a steady fan base, or again have you started to bring new fans in, or how is the, obviously certain countries have certain laws on certain music. Is that the same within India, or is it pretty much like open?
No, everything's open in India because the scene is very complex back home. For starters, English music and rock music itself is a privilege. It's not something that everyone gets to kind of indulge in. It's the middle class and the upper middle class and the rich people who have access to this stuff. So the music is a lot consumed by teenagers, and who are sort of, obviously their parents are not very keen on them listening to this music because they think it's going to make them smoke or do drugs or whatever. So it's a very complicated scene, but we don't have any restrictions as such. And in terms of our fan base, we do have a very, very large fan base in India. I would say we're one of those bands that the kids will kind of first get into, and then they'll move on and start listening to the other Indian bands, you know. So we have a lot of fans in the smaller cities. And somehow they get access to our music first, and then they kind of, you know, find other bands to listen to. So, but we do have a steady fan base, and we pull a decent crowd wherever we play in India.
Excellent. Obviously, like the UK, you have the Download, Bloodstock, Sonosphere. You have big festivals across the US, and other countries as well have individual festivals. Is there something similar to that happens in India, or again is it smaller sort of concerts?
Well, there are a lot of small concerts happening and a lot of club shows that take place. Festivals, most of them have not survived for various reasons. The thing is, in India, the metal scene sort of piggybacks on the indie music scene.
Right.
And until the indie music scene matures and reaches a full-fledged industry, the metal scene is kind of going to have a tough time to sort of reach that stage. So we have a few festivals like the NH7 festival, which has a rock and metal stage. But in terms of just a pure metal festival, we have one festival called Bangalore Open Air, though they are struggling a bit with the financing and the funding. But for now, that's the only kind of proper festival. We had a beautiful festival called the Great Indian Rock Festival, which had a lot of metal bands in it, and they brought down Enslaved, Satyricon, Meshuggah, and a whole bunch of bands. Unfortunately, the founder of the festival passed away 2 years back. So things like that have kind of sort of made the scene stagnate here and there. But there are always people working hard to kind of get things done.
Excellent. So where would you like to see you guys so like within the next sort of 12 months? What's the plans for Dynamic?
Well, right now our focus is completely on promoting the album. We're going to play as many shows in India as we can. We're hoping to do a big run of shows in Europe next year, early next year, maybe even come back to the UK if possible, and just promote the crap out of the album.
Nothing wrong with promotion.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we got to do if we want to do this as a band full time and just make successful trips to the UK without losing truckloads of money. It has to do well for us.
So that's it. That's the other thing. It's the logistics side of things of planning a European and UK tour as well.
Yeah.
Is this not exactly as if you're based in Europe where you can drive?
Yeah.
Obviously, got a lot of stuff which you've got to be able to move from continent to continent.
Yeah, the first hurdle is the flight and of course the visa.
Yeah.
Yes, the infamous UK visa which prevented us from playing Sonosphere back in 2011. So, but we've got the process down. It's just that it's a very expensive process. But nonetheless, we are determined to make our mark all over the world. So we will do it, come hell or high water.
It's really good. And I just got to say, if you've never checked out these guys, you really have to.
Thank you so much.
So I can say I'm really looking forward to tonight's performance. I say it's been a couple of years since I've seen you guys perform on stage. I know you've had a blinding UK tour. You've got a couple of dates left. Birmingham is the final date on Monday, I believe.
Yes, on Monday, yeah.
And a lot of people I know are going to be attending that one.
That's
well.
awesome.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you. But in the meantime, thank you so much for taking
my pleasure.
All right, okay.
I mean, with you touring so much and going all over the place, when you do go back home, what do you do to chill out? I mean, what do you manage to do?
I will sit at home in front of my computer. Oh, should I wait for him to be in the frame? No.
Sorry.
Well, when I'm back home, I'm just going to sit in front of my computer and waste away on Facebook. And probably, I don't know how to relax actually. I think probably cooking dinner is my way of relaxing. So I'll go back to normal life, and of course I'm actually going to start recording my solo album. So there's a lot of work pending for me, and hopefully I will find the time to do it.
Excellent. Actually, talking about cooking, because heavy metal music and cooking go well two of the best blends. Really,
yes.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Do you use any sort of family recipes, or are you very creative on your own?
I do follow a lot of the great chefs like Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver, Heston Blumenthal, and I just sort of pick some ideas from there and kind of obviously use what I can, because in India you get different ingredients, not the same stuff you would get in the UK or in Europe. So I kind of make do with my own, and of course there are some family secrets that have been passed down to me. Yes.
Is that one of the things, as you sort of like staying on cooking, is that one of the things you miss when you're on the road? Because obviously India, as a country, you have so many choices when it comes to like the spices and products which you cannot get of course, over here in the UK, not even like specialist shops.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is I'm the opposite. I actually like the food here because I'm a hardcore meat eater. Yeah. So for me, I mean, I get the cuts of steak that I won't get back home, you know, a sirloin or a ribeye. I mean, stuff like that is stuff to get your hands on back home. So I'm enjoying it here, and I don't miss the food at all. I'll go back home and enjoy my food when I can.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant. Again, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Seeing you on stage tonight.
Awesome.
And enjoy the rest of the UK.
I will. Thank you so much.
Including our weather.
Yes, I'm loving it.